Well, thank you, Marsha, for your interest in creating a strategy for manifesting your big dreams in 2023. I noticed that you filled the form, the assessment form. That's really wonderful that you have such big dreams. Um, Perhaps you can give me a brief synopsis of what you would really like to change in your life so that you would feel like you're living your dreams.
Boy, this is something I've thought a lot about. And there's big stones that I want to accomplish, but what holds them up seems to be where I really need to put my energy. And that is causing consistent structure and order in my life. Like, it's really hard to build a productive and fluent business when what's underneath it is uncertain and chaotic. So what I'm realizing what I really need to do is create a structure that I will actually do consistently, not just.
So you're telling that your big dream is to create structure, but I would imagine that once you've created structure, you would want to pursue a bigger dream, just using the structure as a stepping stone, right?
Yes, and like I said, I've thought about this a lot, and I can name off all these things I want to be present. I could put it under the umbrella and say, I want to have a fluid, functioning, productive, financially solvent business. But that's not going to occur unless I cause this other thing. And this other thing, this having structure in my life and consistently making the choices to use my time in a certain way, is not just about producing the business I want, but producing a lifestyle that I want. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of shown up as the big thing that needs to happen.
Absolutely. Would you care to spend a minute and paint a picture with words of what that lifestyle would look like?
What would it look like? It would look like I could actually write it out in a calendar and show a year or more. I could show each month and the functionality, each week, the actions that are to be accomplished that week, and certainly on a daily basis to know what has to get done that day to lead to all the things coming down the line. What also needs to be there or would be an essential to its creation is my own health and well-being. So that has got to be worked on simultaneously. And that includes things like downtime, rest, sleep, which are not all exactly the same thing, but primarily good sleep, and time when I am off the calendar, so I can do whatever I want, wherever I want, as long as I want, and know that I'm not missing out or cutting somebody else off, so it's scheduled in. The lifestyle looks like when I want to accomplish something, I'm trying to say this in a way that's not negatives. Like, I'm trying to say it in in positive format, that when I want to cause something, I just go cause it. I'm not limited by things like money or time or resources or other things. When I want to cause something, I just go cause it because it's what showed up for me, that is what I wanted to do, whether that's travel or shopping of some sort, meeting up with people, dining, buying other fun things to play with, whatever it is, because that paints a sense of freedom. So I would say freedom to really express my own potential is an important part of that lifestyle of, yeah, being able to take action when it occurs to me. Here's an action I want to take.
Is this something that you would consider a very important value in your value system?
Yes, absolutely. And
well, just to give you a little heads up, we will be starting a special program dedicated to helping people like you manifest and live their dreams. And during that program, we will be exploring and identifying high priority values, and also help bring those values to front and center so that they actually get satisfied. But before we talk about that, let me give you a simple exercise that perhaps will help us establish more clarity about where you are at right now and where you would like to be. And that will also help us build an intelligent strategy, okay?
okay.
If you happen to have a piece of paper and a pen or even pencil, excellent. I will ask you to draw a big circle covering pretty much the entire piece of paper. It doesn't have to be perfectly circular. If it is like an egg, it's okay too. What we're going to do next is we're going to slice it up like pizza into 6 slices. So for example, you can draw one vertical line. If it's like a big clock dial, then it would go from 12 to 6. Another line from 2 to 8 o'clock, and another line from 10 to 4 o'clock. And let me know when you're done with that painting, drawing. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to give names to each of the slices of the pie. So starting with the one at 12 o'clock going clockwise. That's going to be health and wellness. You mentioned that health is an important value for you as well. So we're going to start with that.
Got it.
And the next one is going to be called finances and career.
Okay.
And the third one, let's call it hobbies and sports. For some people, those are 2 different things, just like finances and career, maybe 2 different things, but we're going to lump them together for the sake of this exercise. They can and should be looked at individually as well. The next thing we're going to look at is intimate relationships and family. And the one after that, let's call it social life and social contributions. And the last but not the least is personal and spiritual development. Again, they may be 2 distinct categories, but we're going to lump them together for the sake of this exercise today. As you can see, these are 6 major areas of life that we will be exploring today. Some people say, oh my God, I don't even have this many. Some people say, well, I have some other things that you haven't mentioned. Well, but for more or less generic purpose of our exercise, we will just use these, and you're welcome to make suggestions as we progress through this exercise. What I would like to do is to suggest looking at your current state of affairs, the way that your life is right now, your lifestyle is, and your current level of satisfaction with your health and wellness. Where would you put it, your level of satisfaction with health and wellness on a scale from 1 to 100? So we're trying to be pretty precise. Some people would put it on a scale from 1 to 10, but we want to be more specific.
On a scale from 1 to 100, my level of satisfaction, I would put at 60.
Very good. So slightly above the middle line between the center of the circle and its perimeter, let's put a notch on the first line that goes from 12 o'clock to 0, or from 0 to 12 o'clock. Let's put it a little bit closer to the perimeter of the circle, a notch that will indicate 60%.
Got it.
If the center of the circle is 0, the perimeter is 100, then 50% would be right in the middle of that distance, and we're going to put it a little bit closer to the edge of the circle. Now let's look at the next area of our lives, which is career and finances. Where would you say you are in terms of your satisfaction with this area of your life on a scale from 1 to 100?
I would put that at about a 65.
Fair enough. So let's make another notch on the next line of connecting the center of the circle to number 2 on the clock dial. And we're going to move next to hobbies and sports. How does that feel in terms of level of satisfaction on a scale from 1 to 100 at the present moment?
My first comment is I don't picture anything in my life as showing up like a hobby or a sport.
Well, do you do any Qigong or Tai Chi or any other ones of that?
Yeah, but I don't consider that a hobby, and I don't consider it a sport. I think that's what I'm pointing at is, to me, a hobby is something that one does for just to stave off boredom.
Pastime.
Yeah, just kind of pass the time and not expecting any real profit or gain from it. It's more like an entertainment. And maybe I'm underplaying it. And sports to me sounds like a team effort and an organized, event. And neither of those two things show up. Now, when it comes to something like
exercise, physical activity, hiking, all fall under that category.
So going to the gym is something that I am adding to my lifestyle. Okay, so if we call that a sport, we'll call that a sport. Exercising.
Yes, exercising, any type of martial arts or Tai Chi or yoga or this type of wellness activities may fall into this category as well. If you are not a professional yoga teacher or Qigong master, in other words, you're not making money at this present moment from those activities. They are a vacation, an avocation.
Right.
If you are making money as a professional, then they turn into a vocation. But right now, it's fair to lump them under the category of hobbies and sports. And so on a scale from 1 to 100, where would you say you are in terms of your level of satisfaction with this area of your life?
I would say probably about a 50.
50%. Okay, great. Let's put a notch smack in the middle between the center and the edge of the circle on the next line and on the spoke of the wheel, so to speak. Let's take a look at the family and intimate relationships. How satisfied are you with this area of your life?
I would say about a 40.
40. Okay. Let's put a notch a little bit closer to the center on the next spoke of the wheel. Now let's move on to social life and social contributions. How satisfied are you with that part of your life? Well, they may include friendships or any kind of social activities.
I would put that at about a 40.
Pardon?
I said I would put that at about a 40.
40. All right, let's put a notch there on the spoke of the wheel. And let's take a look at personal and spiritual development. How satisfied are you with this part of your life?
I would put that at a 70.
Very nice. So that's the most satisfying aspect, seems like.
Yeah.
As opposed to, seems like social life is the least satisfying, but there may be reasons to explore what part of your life or which of these areas of life would need attention the most. Like maybe they hold the key to unlocking higher level of satisfaction with all of these other parts of your life. What do you think that might be?
Ask me that question again.
What we're going to look at is assessing where your attention is needed the most, or where you would be able to benefit by improving one particular part of your life the most.
Yeah, so let me say what I'm hearing with that question. A score might be low. So let's take relationship and family.
Mm-hmm.
It's low for me because in my own judgment, I want more from that area than is currently happening. I am not dissatisfied with what is occurring. It just needs to be increased significantly. Okay, and
right.
You know, the quantity is what's small. The quality is much better. I'm not fretting much about the quality of our interaction, just the quantity of it. Mm-hmm. Where if I look at something like hobbies and sports, I'm kind of in the middle, and the satisfaction level is influenced by how it interacts with things like health and well-being. There's an interrelationship there, and where I want to, it's connected and disconnected. So I want to go to the gym more. I want to spend more time doing physical things that could be considered sport-like. But to do that, my health and well-being has to come up a level. And in doing that, then the amount of time I spend in my day has to balance with what I'm doing to make money and what I'm doing to spend time with people and things. So there's sort of a push and pull around how that goes. So phrasing it like, how am I satisfied? What's my satisfaction level? Mm-hmm. Satisfaction itself doesn't imply one cause. So
not at all.
Yeah,
they're all connected. It's like a web.
Right.
And you pull one string and it affects everything else. I totally get that.
Right.
As a matter of fact, what we're looking for is the weak spot, or the area where the least amount of effort would produce the greatest effect, positive effect, on all the other areas of life. In order to identify that, I would like to do this exercise in a slightly different way. You mentioned that you were not fully satisfied with area of life associated with family and relationships, simply because there's room for improvement. And you would like to experience more of that. So let's imagine that you actually managed to manifest what you aspire to manifest by the end of 2023. Or maybe a year from now, end of November of 2023. We meet again. I ask you, well, how are things going? And if you go through this assessment chart, the pie chart again, what would it be like if you would describe to me your level of satisfaction, for example, with your health and wellness?
In a year's time, where I could imagine my health and wellness being is at an 80.
Oh, fantastic. That's a nice improvement. And what would make difference between where you're at right now and a year from now?
What would be causing the difference?
What would be the difference? How would you know that it's 80 rather than 65 where it is now?
The feedback I get, like what my blood glucose numbers are telling me and what my weight, the bathroom scale is telling me, and what my sleep hours are showing me, and that those things are consistently being caused by actions that I know what's causing it.
Marvelous. So in other words, it's rather quantifiable, which actually makes it a lot easier to achieve. It's a lot easier to improve that, which you can measure. So this is really good. Let's continue this exploration. A year from now, how satisfied would you imagine being, realistically speaking, with your career in finances?
Hang on, I'm writing something down there. So in the world of finances, and I also want to say this out loud. When I say any number, I'm recognizing the fact that there's always room for more gain, more improvement. So even if I said 100%, that doesn't mean there's nothing else to do. But being an old school,
are at 100% of satisfaction with career and finances.
Yeah.
So realistically speaking, where would you imagine being at a year from today?
A year from now, I can imagine being at we'll say 80. That sounds like a fair place to be.
Fantastic. Well, let's put a notch at 80, which is a bit closer to the edge of the circle on both of those spokes of the wheel. Let's take a look at the hobbies and sports, which, as I mentioned, would include also exercises or gardening or hiking or qigong or tai chi or any similar disciplines. How satisfied do you envision yourself being a year from today?
Yeah, we throw gardening in there. That makes a difference. So I would say 75%, a 25% increase.
Marvelous. Okay. And what would make a difference in terms of increase from where you would be 20 or 50 to 75?
What would make the difference is having time committed to those activities on a regular, structured basis. It's like always, I know that on this day and this day of the week, I go to the gym for this amount of time. And that right. Gardening is a little bit more fluid, like you kind of have to do it when it demands it, but knowing that there are weekends or times during the week where that goes on the calendar, go do this activity. And gardening will be for me this coming year something that's got a lot of work up front and then tending to type of effort along the way. But
very good.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, I would like to move on to the next slice of the pie chart and take a look at the family and personal relationships. If you imagine yourself a year from today, how satisfied would you be with this area of your life?
The interesting thing about this one is it is very two-sided. It's not just what I want or I do. It also involves what they want and what they're willing to do.
Sure.
So if I reached the level of being 70% satisfied, I would be 70% satisfied with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's put a notch on that spoke of the wheel, closer to the edge of the center, and let's edge of the circle, and let's take a look at the social life and social contributions. That didn't seem to be very satisfying in the present moment, but where do you imagine being a year from now?
And see, again, that's one of those ones where I point to. It's not that I'm not satisfied. It's just that there's so much more that can be done.
For sure.
So I don't want 40 to sound like I'm disgruntled. I'm not. I just know there's.
It would be really disgruntled. 40, that's not that bad.
Yeah, but it's not even a measure of being dissatisfied. It's just saying that I know there is so much more I can do in the way of contributing, and so right. many ways I can expand to have a social life. What I have is it's quality at the level that, and at the level of quantity that I have. So it's kind of a funny measurement, but I would say what would expand there would be more people to hang out with, and actually putting myself on the line for activity in the world. I can move that one up to a 60.
60, okay. Fair enough. Let's put the mark on that spoke of the wheel, and let's take a look at personal and spiritual development. What's your dream for that aspect of your life in a year from now? Realistically speaking, how satisfied would you be?
85.
Very nice. Okay, so we have made a journey around the circle twice. Well, first time for the current state of affairs, and the second time for where you envision yourself in a year from today. And it seems like some areas of life may require more attention. Perhaps some will kind of naturally grow without too much special effort dedicated to them. Any one of them that stands out as the one that would be like the key, unlocking a lot of other potential in other areas?
I would say that health and wellness and finance run pretty close together. And at this moment, getting finances to take the lead in a real dependable way would make the biggest difference.
Very good. Well, if you don't mind spending a minute painting a picture with words, what that would look like a year from today. How would you know that you achieved a greater degree of satisfaction with your finances? How would it be different from the way they are now?
What would be different is a third or fourth stream of income that is regular and predictable, and I want to call it like in the mailbox world, meaning at least one of those is something I don't have to keep doing over and over and over again to get a return from. And you know, things like the affiliate marketing and that type of world. And the other would be just an actual flow of clients through my coaching, counseling, hypnotherapy business that happens consistently and generates an easy extra $3,000 a month, doubling my income at this moment, right, would be a real freedom opening. You know, certainly I will accept more, and that would be a significant difference in how I choose from day to day, what I do from day to day.
Fantastic. Well, since you put on the table the number of $3,000 a month, I would like to ask you a few more questions about numbers. You mentioned that you would see clients that you would work with in a coaching capacity or as a counselor or a hypnotherapist. How many clients would you need to see per month in order to generate $3,000 in income?
If I had each month 3 new coaching clients, because that's a bigger ticket product, and each month a minimum of let's see, I'm kind of doing math backwards in my head. 20 people in a month. 15 to 20 people in a month for one-on-one type sessions. That could be hypno or whatever, but that would probably generate that amount of income.
So we're talking about approximately $200 per session. 15 times 200 is 3,000. That sounds about right.
Well, actually, I was saying that the coaching sessions would probably be about $300 a piece, and if I had 3 of those, that would be like 1,000 in the month, someplace in the neighborhood. So the rest of those the rest of the individual sessions would make up the difference of about $2,000. Kind of the numbers I was dealing with in my head, but that's that's workable.
And coaching, you said would be $300 per session.
No,
but it wouldn't just one session a month.
No. Client, 300 per client. So if I had 3 clients who bought in at that level, that would technically be $900 in a month. And if that happened every month, that would be significant. And there would definitely be an overlap of people happening in that, but.
Okay. All right. And how many clients do you currently work with?
0.
Okay. So in other words, there is some room for improvement in terms of growing from 0 to 15, 20 clients.
Right.
Okay. Let's see how we can make it happen. Would that really feel like a satisfying strategy if we figure out how to make that work?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. The second half of the year will probably need a little bit more detailed approach, but let's start with the first half of the year. If we divide the year in half, where would you need to be 6 months from today in regard to your business and your practice so that you would feel like you're on the right track, moving in the right direction, and in 6 more months, you will be likely to manifest what you set out to manifest? How many clients would you need to be working with? Well, how much money would you need to be making, and so on?
Let's see, 6 months from now. Well, on a logical thought process, half of that amount, and I'm not sure that it would progress like that. I think there would be greater growth, expanded growth more towards the end, but at 6 months out, if I had at least a third, between a third and a half of that income coming in, that would indicate to me I was doing something right. So
about something between $1,000 and $1,500 a month coming from your practice as a coach and a hypnotherapist. And how many clients would you need to see in order to make that happen? On a monthly basis, I mean. On a monthly basis, I would say 2 coaching clients and at least 10 one-on-one. How much would you charge for your hypnotherapy sessions or one-on-one sessions? About $100. Okay, $100 times 10. And actually, let me say that differently. Asserting that within the first 3 months to 6 months that new coaching clients and new one-on-one clients are come in, that I would start at one price level, but when that price level filled itself easily, then I would upgrade it. So by 6 months, I might be charging $200, but I'm just doing the basics here in my head. Sure. Okay. Realistically, it's a pretty good approach. So let's do another exercise. Perhaps you can flip this piece of paper on the other side or take another sheet of paper and let's draw a line across the entire sheet. Oh, brilliant. Okay. So, already there. On one end, let's say on the left-hand side, it's going to be the present time. And you can even put the date on it if you want. It's November 27th, 2022. The opposite end of this line would be approximately a year from now, which would be the end of November, beginning of December of next year.
Yeah.
And what you just described to me is where you would need to be 6 months from now. Let me ask you to put a notch dividing this line in half and write down what you just described to me in terms of where you would really like to be in the 6 months in terms of your practice.
Where I'd really like to be in terms of dollar value or in terms of what?
Dollar value, both. Dollar value, number of clients you're working with, any other measurables that you would consider looking at as KPIs, key performance indicators. Maybe it's the number of visitors coming to your website if you have a website, or maybe a number of people on your mailing list if you have a mailing list. Any of that would be suitable to add to this.
Well, I think, didn't I just do that by saying that I would be bringing in at least 2 coaching clients a month and 10 one-on-ones? That would be about the 6-month mark. Right?
You said that. I'm just asking you to write it down.
Oh, I already did.
Awesome. Okay, great. Then you are ahead of me. Let's see if we can divide the left side of the timeline in half again, and take a look at the 3-month point in time from now, which will be the end of February, maybe beginning of March. Where would you need to be, realistically speaking, at that point in time, so that in 3 more months, you would be able to achieve what you just described to me, achieving in 6 months' time?
I would say 1 solid coaching client and 5 one-on-ones happening each of those months.
It's good math. Yeah, if there are 2 coaching clients in 6 months, 1 client in 3 months is fair enough. And also 5 one-on-ones every month. Mm-hmm. So almost every week you would have a coaching client, a coaching session, or a hypnotherapy session, or something of that nature.
Right.
And how often would you be meeting with your coaching clients, by the way?
I believe that would be a weekly meeting, and one live weekly meeting, and the coaching could also be a group. It doesn't have to be a single person, but they could overlap. So
very good. All right. And how much money would you be generating from this business activity in 3 months on a monthly basis?
I'm just going to round it up and say about $1,000.
So in 6 months, you would be making, you said, half, 1/3 to 1/5 of the yearly assessment. A yearly assessment was $3,000.
Yeah, so at 3 months, it'd be $800 to $1,000, just depending on how those numbers vary.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see if we can take a look at something even closer to the present time. For example, let's divide the leftmost part of this timeline in half again, so that we can take a look at the 1.5 point in time from now. It's going to be beginning of January. Where would you need to be in beginning or middle of January so that you, realistically speaking, you would be on the right track, moving in the right direction, developing your private practice, and making some money off of it?
I would need at least 5 one-on-one clients in that time period. Pardon?
It's the same as 3 months from now.
Up to that, yeah, I would say that would be, if I was getting a regular input of one-on-one clients, that would bring that number up to that point that is on the direction towards the 3 month, whether it was because I had 6 one-on-ones or whatever. It's like, let me say that differently. If I was going to focus on getting a coaching client that's an extended, like 10-week program or one-on-ones, I would rather have the one-on-ones.
Interesting.
And that might be different a year from now, but right now, for me, it's about building skill and committing myself to the time structure of having that space in my life, where having one person that I see once a week for 10 weeks doesn't demand as much. It might generate more money, but it doesn't demand as much
development.
Development on my part, to do that.
Okay. So who am I to argue? If you want to say 5 clients in a month and a half from now, that's good enough for me. And obviously, no coaching clients at that time. You would be mostly focusing on one-on-ones. Great. And how much money would that generate for you?
That would generate around $500 a month.
$500 a month. Very good. Now, what would you need to be doing in the beginning of January so that you would actually generate this development in your private practice? Where would you need to put your efforts most so that it would actually happen?
I need a completed website. And I need some, what do I want to call it, like copy. I need some write-up of what I'm doing so people have something to consider. Like, what is there to get? The actual curriculum design for the coaching. What does that look like laid out across the time span? And like the background kind of things like files set up and forms that need to be shared back and forth. Those things can be developed in that time period.
Good. It seems like you have a pretty realistic shot at it. Let's bring it closer. Yeah, I have some other ideas.
Well, I was also going to add, so I've taken those steps towards the scheduling process, the Calendly, but also having 2 methods of being paid that makes it easy for people to make a payment, whether it's PayPal or Stripe or whatever, that finding what's most common to the person out there that that is done easily. And here's one of the things I learned, that if I am, big fat squirrel just jumped up on the window over here. Say if I'm doing business with somebody that's in Europe, there has to be a conversion rate, dollar exchange. And
it happens automatically.
Well, it happens automatically, and I have to be able to talk about it. I have to be able to understand that if I'm charging you $100, what does that mean you're paying?
100 euros.
Yeah, but no, 100 euros doesn't equal $100.
Yes, it does. $100 and 100 euros are the same nowadays.
Okay, it wasn't when I was in London, or at least UK pounds, British pounds, it wasn't. And
yes, because UK doesn't use euros, it uses pounds.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Some of those clients may not use euros and they may not use American dollars. And so having a handle on what that looks like and how to offer it. Like when I paid for Allie's classes, the website listed what was there in pounds. And when I paid for it, it came out of my account in terms of dollars. So it was higher.
Of course.
Yeah, so just understanding that process and being able to share it with someone else, you know, that's what it's going to look like. And another interaction I had with a fellow was he owed me money and all of his money was in British pounds, and he friggin' could not get PayPal to make a payment and convert it. It like took him 2 weeks to figure out how to get his British pounds out of his card into PayPal at the amount that equaled what I was expecting from him. So I'm just saying, well, I don't have to work the details out now. I'm just saying that
maybe he was trying too hard, because it really requires zero effort on his part. You literally just make the payment with a card, and the person on the receiving end will be able to convert it automatically into the currency of their choosing.
Well, converting it from one to the other is one thing. Converting it to the right dollar value is something else. If I say to him, it's not. I'm telling you, it was not. It did not happen automatically.
I'm just helping you out. So if you trust me, in case you understand that I work with thousands of people worldwide, and I receive payments in all kinds of denominations, shekels and Singaporean dollars and Australian dollars and Canadian dollars. It doesn't matter to me whatsoever, because it all gets converted into US dollars at the end, and bada bim, bada boom, like magic, I get paid in US dollars.
Okay, that's not what I'm saying though, Lama. That's not what I'm saying. Converting it is one thing. Telling them what their price will be is something else.
Oh, for me, I always say it's going to be such and such number of dollars. What is going to be in your denomination, you go figure it out. I don't want to do math for you, because I'm not in charge of whatever, how you convert it, how much dinars or shekels you need to put into the system so that it would spit out the right number of dollars. PayPal or Stripe or other systems like that do it automatically. So if it is done in a certain correct way, it is going to be done automatically. If he was doing it not automatically, it means that he just wasn't doing it in a correct way. And there are easy ways to handle that. Just YouTube how to convert this and that using PayPal. It will spit out the answer in seconds, and it will be very easy. Millions of people do business across the world, and it's been easier and easier to do that. So I can guarantee that it's not going to be a stumbling block for you.
PayPal and Stripe are the two that you use most often?
Yes.
So I would have to get familiar with those two things. And the one that I've had the encounter with is PayPal. And it looked easy to me. It was not what occurred, but hello, you know, we eventually got it done. And it's different to say, I'm charging you this, please put that money, please send that to me via PayPal or Stripe, than having a link on a website that says register here and pay your money here, because then there's some platform in the background that's handling all that.
Yes, if it's done via PayPal, it's all handled by PayPal automatically. PayPal knows the conversion rates from Danish kroners to US dollars, or euro to US dollars, or British pounds to US dollars, even though the person on the other end is inputting the money from their card in their denomination that they have money in their country. Whatever you charge in dollars will be automatically converted into their denomination and charged on their account or on their card appropriately.
So what I need between, you know, that we're talking about what happens in January is a website that's set up to do that, and a definite connection with PayPal and at least Stripe, so people have an option of making that payment. And for some people, Zelle is still an option, but that's
Yeah,
like a
but
third
it's
one
not
out.
good. It's for personal purposes. It's
Yeah.
great for personal sending money to friends or family members, but it's not done. Business is not done via Zelle. Anyway, let's continue our journey developing strategies. So far, it's not that difficult, right? It's not a rocket science, and we can actually create a meaningful and pretty intelligent way of taking one step at a time. Let's make the steps smaller. Baby steps are always easier to take than large leaps. So let's break the month and a half time lapse between now and the next step in half again. Let's take a look at where you need to be in 3 weeks from now so that you would be on the right track, moving in the right direction, and in 3 more weeks, you would achieve what you set out to achieve by the middle of January.
In 3 weeks, I would need to at least have a website, whether it had all the functionalities yet or not, but at least have one to put those things into. And a file system set up in my computer for keeping track of clients and whatever forms that need to be shared back and forth.
How many clients would you envision working with in 3 weeks from today, realistically speaking?
If I had, by that 3rd week out, if I had 2 people in that week, that'd be great.
Marvelous. Okay. And how much money would you generate then?
200 to minimum.
Okay. Very cool. Now, let's take a look at even closer point in time to the present moment. Let's bring it to 10 days from now. Where would you need to be in 10 days so that you would be on the right track, moving in the right direction? What do you need to be doing? What kind of steps do you need to be taking in order to make it happen?
This is where it starts to get real.
Yes, exactly.
Hang on a second. Let me look at a whole calendar picture.
10 days from now, it's probably 7th of December or something like that. Or actually the 4th of December, rather. No, 7th of December.
And I didn't move the other one. Oh, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Okay, so most important thing is that I have to have a realistic layout in my calendar of both time for clients, time for my other studies, and time to do office work. And
yes,
time to go to the gym and time to sleep and time to eat and all of that. That's what I started with saying. It's like the structure is missing. You know, I know it needs to be there, but it's just random at this moment.
So you will be basically designing and working on your calendar in 10 days from today.
Yes. Well, in 10 days from now, I should be activating it, not just designing it.
Now, well, when you activate it, what type of steps would you need to take in order to make it happen?
There are things in my world I have to stop doing.
Such as?
Going to bed and watching TV for 3 hours.
Yep, that's going to eat up your time if you keep doing that for sure. What would you do instead?
Sleep or study, but the idea is to go to bed and sleep so that I'm waking up earlier. I'm actually kind of going to bed earlier, but I'm still not getting significant hours of sleep. Still not, I'm waking up a little earlier, I'm getting up a little earlier, but not enough so. So another shift in the nighttime routine, which will alter the morning routine.
Okay.
Right.
And what does it look like your morning routine?
Well, the morning routine is pretty constant. The get up stuff, get up, go to the bathroom, put the dog out, feed the cat, let the dog in, brush my hair, brush my teeth, all that stuff. That's morning routine. And then I do the journaling for the sake of my health. I'm keeping records of my blood glucose, and I keep a dream journal to see, and I got to do that right then in the morning because it won't be in my head later on. And I've added in this week a 15-minute, we'll call it a meditation or an intentional visualization session that is about seeing myself in business.
Fantastic.
So it's
that's going to be a very nice development, the developmental step. It's really hard to manifest a dream if you don't know what the dream is. Anything else that you need to be doing in 10 days in terms of, for example, getting new clients? You said that in a month and a half, you would want to have 2 clients a week. What
there
about
is, I'm going to say that if I had 2 sources, 2 network sources that I have put out like ads, and I'll call one of those Facebook, and not necessarily paid ads, but at least posting as much as I can in my own page. And there's another one I just recently discovered. In my neighborhood, there's kind of a website that goes for the whole neighborhood. And it's called a neighborhood watch. And I discovered that I can have a business page in that system where I can advertise. And what stopped me was the money. So I would need to set aside the dollar value of at least 1 month of that page, which would be about $90 to have a business page with ads that go out to all the different places and people.
How many readers do you know receive the publication?
Well, considering it is this community, so it's like the town of Livonia, it's many thousands, but I don't know how many of those people actually open up the page and look at it. So to me, it is attractive because it's local. It's possible for me to make a live connection with those people as opposed to just doing things on Zoom because it is local. And I've got this feeling that because it is local, it will feel more accessible to people. Like they won't feel like they're dealing with some ooby-gooby thing online that they can't have any contact with. Hey, I live down the street from you, you know? So,
and it will mitigate the whole issue of converting currencies from one to another.
Right. So setting up networks would be something, exploring setting up network, and also finding places like maybe the public library has a quiet room, someplace where I can meet people, as opposed to them coming to my house or my going to their house. It's like we can schedule the room at the library that has closed room, door shut, you know, kind of a thing. So.
Very nice. Very good. So it seems like you have a pretty good idea what you need to be doing in 10 days from now. Let's bring it even closer home. Let's take a look at where you need to be and what you need to be doing in 5 days so that you would be on the right track, developing all those networks and building up the resources to get clients from. What would you say 5 days looks like from now?
Well, in that 5-day period of time, what is most critical to happen is to get it in my calendar. Like to get actual, what am I doing this hour? What am I doing this hour on this day in the calendar, and consistently do those things. So yeah, in the next, you know, what I just listed as far as researching and getting a final, what's it going to cost me, time and money for networks. I mean, that can be done in 2 or 3 days as well. Right. Purchasing it by, if it's something that has to be purchased, I can do that within, I have to wait till 14th before I have that cash in available. But okay. I can know it all. I can know what I need to do by what date and have that in place. Next 3 days, let's see. Most important thing is just having a calendar that is filled in. What am I doing with this day?
And when are you going to do this?
Well, I was working on it before you called, or before we called, and to have it laid out for the rest of for the whole month of December. I can definitely have that done within that 3-day time period, starting today, like working on it today. Right. Some other weird things have popped up that have to be attended to, and I don't know what time it's going to take to do those, but so the next 3 days, and the other thing that I have to do is start resetting my morning, evening clock, like my body clock, like take it to the next level. Put about 3 alarms in my bedroom, and what really has to be shifted is the habit of, okay, that's my alarm, thank you very much, off, and then just go back to sleep, because nobody cares. Nobody's gonna knock on my front door if I don't get up, right? So
the dog probably would complain though that you don't let it out.
She wakes me up so many times during the night, it's not even funny anymore. But what's there is having all of this process occur for me like a level of urgency or a level of enthusiasm that would get me out of bed.
Yes. Well, I cannot promise that I would get you out of bed with my own efforts, but one of the things that I know for certain is the accountability makes a huge difference. If you have somebody like an accountability partner or partners or a group of people who would keep you accountable, that's much more likely to happen. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes, and in fact, I have accomplished that accountability partner with a person who's actually, was she in Denmark? I'm not sure where she is. Someplace over there, around doing the meditation. So I could be more specific with her and tell her that there is a time of the day I'm going to do it, and that I text her immediately afterwards. That's what keeps me accountable to her, is that she has to hear from me by a certain period of time, certain time of the day. Right on.
Well, and as a matter of fact, we have an accountability and coaching program that would take you by the hand and help you accomplish exactly what you told me you wanted to accomplish in a matter of several days, several weeks, several months. And that's something that obviously would enable you to stay on track much more predictably, maintain some degree of consistency in your efforts, and also have somebody to celebrate your wins or breakthroughs, as well as have somebody who would help you get out of slumps or climb out of the pitfalls if you stumble upon any. This is something that would be helpful for you in manifesting your dreams between now and a year from now.
Yes, it would be helpful.
I would imagine so. As a matter of fact, I normally don't offer a year-long coaching, but I would love to offer to you a relatively short coaching program that you would be able to benefit from at a very crucial first part of this journey, this first 6 weeks. And the next 6 weeks, we are going to have a group coaching program where we will be doing exactly what we just outlined, but with even more granular, more specific approach. And also, we do this in the context of a group so that other people can also participate and support each other. And obviously, you will be also be able to support them, provide them some encouragement or motivation if you feel like it, and at least have a group of like-minded people from all over the world who you would be able to connect with and share your journey with, and also enjoy exploring whatever they have to offer to you. This is something that would be helpful to you to begin the next year on the right foot.
Yes, and of course, where my brain is going is what's this going to cost me?
Of course. And normally I would charge $3,000 for 3 months of coaching, but this is not an individual coaching program. Because it's a group coaching program, it's much more affordable. So normally it would be $1,000 for this length of time, for 3 months. But since it's a shorter length of time, it's only 6 months instead of it's only 6 weeks instead of 3 months, we actually make it really affordable. It literally is within the reach of most people, but not everybody. Not everyone can afford it. So I don't want to assume that you can afford what we have to offer. It's $497 for the next 6 weeks. So something that doesn't only allow you to experience a regular group coaching sessions, but also will provide you the online course with lessons that will additionally support you on your path of manifesting your dreams and developing an intelligent strategy for manifesting what you set out to manifest next year. In addition to the group coaching programs and the online course that we'll offer to you, normally we sell this online course for $300. It will be on the house for you. And we'll go even further. I'll actually offer you a one-on-one coaching session, either myself or one of my apprentices who's also helping me with organizing and leading this group. We'll offer you a one-on-one session at the end of this 6-week program. So we will check what you accomplished, make sure that you're fully satisfied with what you have done, make sure that your milestones that you set up for yourself have been reached, and celebrate with you the achievements that you've made. Now, the tricky thing is this $497 can be broken down into simple weekly payments. So let me ask you, what would work better for you? To pay in one lump sum, or just to make $49 per week weekly payments?
Does that add up? 49 at 6 weeks?
49 times 6 will come to close to 600, a little bit less. So in other words, because we're taking efforts to break it down into smaller incremental payments, there's a little bit more in a total, but if you prefer to put it on a credit card or just pay in one lump sum, that would work just fine for me.
Okay, $49 a week times 6 weeks
Right.
equals $294.
Very good math.
So you
So
said the
wait,
course.
that is screwed up. That's a bad math. So let's do it over again. What was I thinking? No, let's make it $99 a week.
Yeah.
So that'll come to close to $600.
Yeah, that's $594.
Okay, that's close.
Okay.
So $99, or we can even break it down into like $89, whatever. Close enough so that it makes sense, but at the same time, there's a little bit more the person needs to pay if they're paying in the weekly payments, weekly installments.
Yeah, like $85 a month. That would
85.
That would get you in the neighborhood. Okay. Yeah, I would rather pay the weekly payments.
Okay, so here is the link, and I'm going to put it right here in the chat. And if you just simply go to this link and click and see which of the forms of payments suits you best, that's going to be the best way to proceed from now.
And where are you physically getting that link from at this moment that you can copy and paste it into the chat box?
I'm just going to give the link for manifesting coaching.
Oh, so you're just typing in, you do the HTTP thing or just that? Okay.
Yeah, maybe I should have done HTTP. I didn't add it, but let's see. See if this is going to work better.
Okay, so I'm in the chat and I'm clicking on that link and nothing's happening.
Okay, let's try again. Maybe now it's going to work.
I'm waiting for it, whatever you just put in there to come up.
Okay.
Come on, chat box. Let's go. It's not showing up. I'm getting the same thing I got, and it's not showing.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I type it in the browser, it doesn't like www dot. If you just type manifesting coaching in one word.com, then it works like a charm.
All right, I had to wait a minute, and it finally underlined it. And it became a hot link, like it was taking a while for it to be connected. And now it's trying to take me over to the page.
Or maybe this is going to be an easier thing to do, to share this one. Oh, there you go.
All right. To share it like what?
I put this link.
Oh, yes, you did. Let me see what happens. Discover yourself the for yourself the most effective way. Manifest the life of your dreams. And there's the little video. And what was the difference between those two links? Okay, so the first link went to a dead page. It's never took me anyplace. The second one you gave took me to the page that top of it has your video and then the manifesting coaching program for $497 and then the strategy session questionnaire. Haven't they already done that?
I need to add to this page also what we just worked out, which is a weekly breakdown of payment.
So we would tell now that we're doing the strategy session right now, so that they've already done this questionnaire, right?
Yeah, so if they've already done it, there is no need for them to do it again.
Okay, but we're directing them to this page so that they can see the payment plan at the bottom.
They can either see the payment plan or just enroll in the manifesting coaching program.
I get it. So there's no button there. Is the whole thing a link? Yes, it appears to be a link. I'm telling you, you need to say something like this is the link, because
I do in the video.
Okay, because I would have read right over that. And once you click on that, then that should, we would instruct them, click on that. And then on the right-hand side, it gives the payment process. And so that's where you would add in payment plans, put a little note about choosing the payment plan.
Yeah, I just thought of offering a payment plan today. So
yeah. Yeah.
But how did it go for you in terms of the progression of the strategy session from beginning to end?
Let's say the process was an hour and a half, and that included our sideline jabbers. So probably more like an hour and 15 minutes in reality. I think it went well, and I'm going to say I personally, in reality, got something tangible that I can actually apply. It will help me put my calendar together, like really. And because you and I have done this before, how many times I cannot say, it was, I knew what was coming, so I was more prepared. Whereas if no one's ever done this before, it might take a little bit longer to cause it. But I would say, as far as a strategy session goes, I am satisfied that I'm leaving the phone call with something tangible. Like I really do have some action. I mean, something to look at here that can give me some direction.
Was transition from doing the pie chart to doing a timeline relatively smooth and effortless?
Perfect. I think it made perfect sense, the way you walked from one to the next one.
And how about the transition from talking about the timeline and breaking it down to smaller increments to the sales part of the session?
It's the sales part seemed a little empty. I don't know, I'm sure what the right word is. Like I know it was coming. Because I
wasn't like I wasn't doing the sale per se.
Yeah.
My objective, the way that I designed the strategy sessions, is basically to be so self-explanatory and so evident that the person would not need to be convinced additionally that this is a good thing for them to invest their money into. They already convinced themselves, and they literally would start saying, what, you think that I can afford it? Yeah, I can afford it. This is really important for me. I want them to try to talk me into accepting them into the program. So in a sense, it's kind of like a reversed psychology instead of trying to make them.
Yeah, I got that. That was there. And what I'm saying, what I mean by empty is it seemed like, no, it felt a little floaty. I'm not sure exactly the term. Like, it wasn't an oversell, and that was good. Maybe a space to ask the person a little bit more of a concrete question about how much they want the support to complete this process with detail. Like,
Yeah, that one might be a good question to ask. Absolutely.
like,
And
yeah.
sometimes there are other questions. One of the questions is a really good one. Why is it now that you are trying to manifest this?
You know, why is it important? And
why not earlier this year, or why not wait till next year? Why is it that you want to actually do it now? And they will try to tell why they want to do it now, in the sense, creating their own sense of urgency. And try to convince me that now is the time for them to actually get it done. Another really good question to ask is, well, if you don't achieve what you set out to achieve, how is that going to affect your lifestyle and quality of life and level of satisfaction with it? In other words, again, another form of reverse psychology. Let's not talk about how great things are going to be when you receive my services, but rather let's talk about what your life is going to be like if you don't receive my services. And of course, that can be also applied to individual coaching or hypnotherapy sessions. You definitely will be very successful, much more successful, if you integrate just these two simple questions into your like enrollment sessions. Sometimes people ask the question that I usually don't ask, and that is, how much is it worth to you to achieve what you set out to achieve? Like if you're saying, for example, you will be making $3,000 a month extra as a result of achieving this particular strategy, well, would it be worth to invest 1/6 of that, let's say $500, in order to make it happen?
well, you did say something and you went by it so quickly that, not that I hadn't heard this said before, but it's an important thing for a customer to know, that you recognize some people cannot afford this now at any price. And that's a fair statement to put on the table. And you get to add, and something that means, and there's no hurt feelings if you can't afford it at this time. We understand that not everybody can afford this, even at this discounted amount. We understand that there are people who cannot afford this now. And so if that's where you are, that's acceptable. We understand that.
But we don't want to give an easy way out. We don't want to pave the road for them to leave this session without paying for the group coaching program. We actually want to make it difficult for them, emotionally and mentally, to say no to the offer. So I don't really want them to feel like it's okay not to engage in it. What I would like them to feel is, I would be really stupid if I don't take them up on this offer. That's the feeling that I want them to feel. I will be stupid if I don't do this now. Now, if a person has this feeling, they will enroll and they will actually feel good about it, because they feel like they're not doing stupid thing, they're doing smart thing.
I'm feeling in my own head for what is the threshold that has me go one side or the other of that kind of in that moment. For example, I just got a email that from Landmark Education, they're offering what's called a reviewer's course for one of their courses that I took, and when I took it, it rocked my world. Oh my God, that was such a good class. It was probably $900 when I took it the first time, and as a reviewer's class, it's $275. So I know that's an excellent price. And I still had to stop and say to myself, can I lay down $275 right this minute? I really want this course. It's 2 days.
Well, let me ask you this. If you already took this course, why would you need to take it again? Did you not get all the benefits that you could have?
Education doesn't work that way. Human brains don't work that way. You can read the same book more than once and get something new out of it, and nothing that they do stays so static that you wouldn't want to take it again. Like I've done the forum I've done the forum 4 times. Every time I do it, there's something new to, be gotten from it, even though I know what's coming in the punchline. It just goes deeper each time. So it was like, what had me stop was like, there's 2 values in my head, and one of those at this moment, one of those is being true to my budget. I don't want to put myself in debt that I cannot balance in my head, right? And so there's a time of the month when I have to say, can't buy any more books this month, can't, enroll in another course this month. I got to wait till some more money comes in to know that that's handled. And I hit that line. It was like, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I'm not putting another $275 on my credit card because my insides have told me I made a commitment to myself not to do that. And I can come back in 2 weeks, and if it's still open and available, 2 weeks when I have my usual money in, and I can look newly at what's being demanded of my money in 2 weeks, then I can say, yeah, I can forego this, that, and the other thing, and I would put that $275 on that course because it's worth that much to me. So I haven't talked myself out of it. I've given myself a moment to think, I want to say realistically, about how much I value the offer. It's like doing the circle of life thing. It's like, okay, where do I want to be? I want to be here. Where am I now? I'm here. What's in the gap? And what's in the gap is my commitment to myself to not just be reckless.
Right.
And as somebody offering material to somebody, I don't want to ask somebody to be reckless because I'm catching them in a moment of heightened, anxiety, and at the same time, yeah, you want people to take an action now because it seems like if you wait, they won't. But I guarantee you, when I wrote myself a note, stuck it right here on my keyboard, so I personally will not forget that in that time period, I am going to go back and reevaluate where I am. So if somebody doesn't accept the offer at the moment, we can say to them, great, in 2 weeks or before the closing date or whatever it is, we will send you one more notice where you have an opportunity to accept this. It just seems like there's a value in acknowledging, in not making a person feel bad or have to dig for bad excuses. There is a polite way to let somebody off the hook so that they feel good about you, not just.
Yeah, absolutely.
you know.
Yeah, I don't want them to be feeling bad about me. I want them to feel bad about themselves if they don't do that which I offer them to do. Now, how bad do I want them to feel? Well, one thing that I'm quite certain is that when people participate in our programs, they benefit a great deal. Do I fully 100% trust that what we offer will benefit them? Yes, I do 100% trust that. Does it mean that if they don't do what they could do today, they will not receive the benefit? Yes, I am fully certain that they will not benefit as much if they don't take me up on my offer today. That means that I would actually do them disservice by not nudging them gently and persistently so that they would actually take my offer, making it irresistible, and sometimes even taking it away. I'm sorry, I'm not 100% sure that you are a coachable person. I promised myself many years ago I would only work with coachable people who are very open-minded, curious, and capable
And
of taking responsibility.
so you just insulted the crap out of me by. That's my response to that.
Yeah, and that would be perfectly fine because I wouldn't want to work with you if you get so insulted. I refuse to work with people who are so insultable. In other words, I would rather not have this many people in the program than deal with some assholes who can get insulted very easily and then will be giving me grief during the program and afterwards and then ask for money back. Screw that. I've done it,
You start
and I don't want to
by
do it.
saying words to somebody that is like taunting them. Think of any animal, because we are all animals. If you poke an uncertain animal in a corner and then taunt them, do you expect them to all of a sudden just roll over and put their belly up and say, yeah, here you have me? No, they're going to be defensive.
Fight for the art, for the honor, for the opportunity to be in my program. In other words, I want them to try to convince me that they are coachable. I want them to argue with me that I should accept them in the program. And if they don't argue, and if they say, oh, yeah, I guess I'm not coachable, or they just get insulted and say, screw you, how do I know that you are a coachable person or the right coach for me? I say, you know what? I think you're right. Bye-bye. Click. I don't want to spend an extra second trying to convince people that they should study with me. I only want to I want them to convince me that they are the right people. Because there are more people that I can spend time with than them, who would be much more pleasant people and much more interesting people for me to work with. I don't want to work with assholes. I don't want to work with people who are thin-skinned and would be easily insultable. I don't want to work with people who are not interesting to me. You know what I mean? It's like I want to be the gatekeeper of the community. And if I allow some people who don't deserve to be in the community, I'm not doing the good job as a gatekeeper. But I do want people who deserve to be in there to actually get through the doors.
Do you think that if a person shows up the first time they show up, you would deem them as not coachable, or are they never going to be coachable?
Well, that's a question that I would like to ask them. Do you think that you have ever experienced curiosity and open-mindedness so that you would be actually coachable? Have you ever received coaching from anybody else? How did it go? Sometimes that's the really good question, if they've ever received coaching. If they have, and they didn't benefit from it, why is it that you didn't benefit? Often they will point the finger at the coach and say, but the coach was bad. He wasn't good coach. Where in fact, in many cases, not 100% of course, but in many cases, it's the client who was not coachable enough. And the coach that they worked with accepted them, maybe because they were struggling for money, and they just simply accepted them as a coaching client when they shouldn't have. So that's a good thing to know about them. Ask them, okay, now how is it going to be different today, this time that you go through coaching and do benefit from it, how is it that I can make your coaching experience more beneficial? Please tell me how you would like me to help you with that. And how are you going to be different as a coaching client so that you would be able to benefit fully?
What I'm hearing you say is that at some point at this point in the conversation, when the choice to be made has been offered, you're listening for a yes. And if it's not a yes, you're saying quickly, okay, thank you, and just letting them go.
Well, if it's not a yes, but it's not hell no, I might be interested in finding out why is it not a yes? What is it that prevents you from saying yes right now? Is it because you don't have money and you can't afford it? Or is it because you don't see the value and you're not sure this is a good investment of your time and money? Or because you don't really think that being a member of this community will be that beneficial for you? Let's talk about that. So it doesn't need to be a long talk, but at least if a person verbalizes what is on their mind, then we have some objections to deal with. If they don't have any objections and they just say, no, I'm not interested, bye-bye, then of course bye-bye, because there's nothing to talk about. So that's basically the fine line between hell no and no, I'm not so sure. If the person is not so sure, it means they're almost at the juncture where they would say yes, and just a little bit motivation or a little bit of extra information will actually help them say yes. In other words, then sometimes people will say, you know, I need to talk to my husband or wife because they are managing our family finances. Okay, that's a valid idea. Let me ask you this. How do you need to present this opportunity to him or her so that they would say yes to you? How do you need to present it so that they would feel like, absolutely, honey, you need to go for this because this is the best thing since sliced bread for you? And then they will tell me how they are going to present it to their spouse. In other words, they're going to be selling this idea to somebody else. That means that they are pretty much sold on it. They just need to convince somebody else. Great. Well, I'm not going to coach them how to convince their spouse, but at least I can encourage them to be thinking of how do I need to present it so that I receive a yes from my partner. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's a good step. I mean, there's two truths there. Either they really do want it and they have to convince their partner, or they really don't want it. They're using, I have to talk to my partner as an excuse, to which they will not talk to their partner. They'll just come back to you and said, he said no. So, you know, it's
or
like,
they will never come back because
oh, they won't come back. Right, exactly.
It is a good idea, by the way, and I often do this. If people say, I need to talk to my partner, I will say, okay, let's see if I have a 15-minute slot in my calendar next week to talk to you after you speak to him or her. So let's book it right now in our calendars. As we're talking right now, we can look at our calendars. We basically just put the time slot, 15-minute time increment meeting, for example, on Wednesday before our next session, next program starts, so that you are in it. Okay, great. So then we touch base on Wednesday. If they say yes, great. If no, I'm not gonna force them to join the program, but I'll say, okay, well, let's stay in touch. Next year, we're gonna have some really cool programs. So please keep your eyes peeled for my emails. Then I will let them off the hook.
Yeah, I think it's important that nobody is made to feel or leaves feeling put down, less than, somehow
Yep.
insulted, because I'm not, I've told you about many of the courses that I've taken, and things that leave me with a bad taste in my mouth are poor quality product, like this, the paperwork you handed out was crappy, the emails you sent out were crappy, you show up on screen looking crappy, like my judgment machine goes off, right? And my thought is, like, if you don't think enough about yourself, or you don't think enough about my experience of you to take the steps to make that difference, then why would I expect this course to have that kind of value? It's like, you don't care. So it makes me very self-conscious about making sure that when I'm a part of an offer to someone, that I don't start out or end up leaving them with the thought of, this made me feel bad.
Well,
it's not where I want to put anybody.
Responsible for anybody's feelings. You're not responsible for anyone's feelings. Let's not get up on people's feelings.
Well, I know that, and I know that, and I also know that what human beings do is they experience the moment, the energy, they resonate, however you want to put it. If they are made to feel inside, if they choose behavior that has them feel, however you want to word it, a dissonance in the moment, that could have been different based on words that we chose to use or not use, any kind of action we chose to act or not act. If what we could do would make the difference in whether they're left with a resonance that moves them forward as opposed to sticks them or moves them backwards, let's be conscious of that and not do something that predictably will leave that person in some kind of dissonance, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to work with somebody, and believe me, I know the world of disgruntled human beings. I taught a room full of them day after day. People who were mad as shit that you had the audacity to make them show up. I know that even in the face of that, I can be with that person in a way that when they leave, it's not aggravated, it's not made worse. And hopefully they get at least to the place of questioning what there is of value for them to get. Even though they may still say no, I want to leave them at least asking the question, what value is there for me? So that they're looking for the next opportunity and the next opportunity. And, I've said this to you a dozen times, we don't have to keep hashing it out. I psychologically do not have a good resonance with a lot of the marketing techniques. And what I'm hearing you espouse is, yeah, that's a typical marketing technique to kind of poke this person a little bit and see if they're aggravated, and if they give you crap, just say, not you. It's like, but that's
I don't want to poke them in order to aggravate them. No, I have no desire to aggravate people. But if they do get aggravated by my relatively gentle and mindful conversation, then I'm not going to be compelled to work with that person. So, as you said, I don't have any desire to leave a bad taste in their mouth after a conversation with me, but I'm not responsible for their feelings. If they choose to take what I have to offer in some sort of disgruntled manner, well, obviously there is no resonance. If there is no resonance, I'm not the right person to help them. They're not the right person for me to work with. So I'm just going to kindly let them off the hook, say, well, it was very nice to talk to you, and I hope that you stay in touch with me, and perhaps we'll touch base next year to see how things are going. Goodbye.
Yeah, and what I'm getting from our interchange is that transition from that last little piece of the timeline and what there is for them to take as the next step, and it actually being an offer to come into the fold come into the bigger group is it needs to be sufficiently solid.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say forceful, but sufficiently solid and smooth at the same time.
That's exactly why I started asking questions, to which you gave me affirmative answers. Once I received several affirmative answers that basically indicated to me that, yes, you see the value, yes, you can envision yourself doing this with somebody's help, you do see that this would be a beneficial thing for you to receive, then of course I'm going to make this offer in a way that also doesn't just tell the person, so do you want to work with me as a coach or not? Because that's kind of gives them basically binary choice, say yes or say no. But if they receive the question, so this is what I would like to offer to you, and to make it even easier, at least for some people who can't afford to pay it in lump sum, we make it possible to finance it so that your payment can be broken down into manageable weekly installments. What would work better for you, to pay in one lump sum, $497, or to pay in installments of $85 a week? So that gives the person thing to think about. Should I pay $85 a week, or should I pay $495 a month for the whole thing? So basically, that's going to be a conversation about how they are going to afford it, instead of whether or not they're going to sign up for it at all.
Can I ask, does the system allow you to have more than one breakout type of payment plans? Like, can you say pay in full, pay in 2 payments, or pay weekly? Can you do something like that?
Yes, I can. I can. It's often a little bit too confusing for people if they have too many options to choose from. That's why I usually offer only 2 options.
Well, see, you're thinking like somebody whose money comes in at any time, at any time. Think like somebody who has a paycheck. A paycheck gets paid weekly or bi-weekly or monthly. So my money comes in monthly. So when I say, can I afford this? I have to compare it to all the other things I have to spend this month before my next chunk of money comes in. Mm-hmm. When I was working, I got paid every other week. So I would look out 2 weeks and go, can I afford to take that amount of money out every 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I could give up $85 every 2 weeks for, how many payments would that be? 2, 4, 6, 3 pay periods, whatever.
It would be 190 or whatever, 170 then.
Yeah, whatever it would be. I would be looking at it from the relationship to my actual pay money coming in, time periods. But it was just a question, because I know that that's the kind of thing that will make me make a difference. It would make a difference to me.
Well, so to tell you the truth, there is another secret method that I have never promoted or advertised, but I know that it exists, and it's called the PayPal.
Oh, payment plans.
Payment plans, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, anything that is more than $100 can be financed by PayPal itself. They can break it into 6-month payment plan for you. So if it is, for example, $600 payment, you just paid $100 a month, and they will not charge you any interest for this. And it will not affect your credit score.
I like those. I use those when I can, even on, like, there's an option for that on Amazon. PayPal does it. There's a couple of side companies. One of them's called Afterpay.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And I think there's one more that I've used before that just comes up whenever the business that I'm looking at comes up, that'll break it into some equal quantity. And yeah, I think that's a good thing to offer, because I think that can be that little leverage that for that person who their only question is, can I afford it?
Yeah, so
break it up in 4 payments instead of.
Then instead of 85 a week, it will be 85 a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is much more affordable.
And you get paid the full amount up front.
Yes. But there is a challenge in this. It means the person cannot afford even $500. The reason why I'm offering this group coaching program is not just to help people out, but also to get some people to enroll in the Academy of Qidao programs. And those are not cheap programs. If somebody cannot afford $500, likelihood of them being able to afford $2,500 is going to be slim. So basically, in a sense, I want to serve as the gatekeeper, not only to keep people who are obnoxious and rude or just easily buttons getting pushed, but also if a person cannot afford this, obviously they're not going to be able to afford Academy of Qidao programs. Not that I don't want to work with poor people, but they're not going to be my primary focus to try to get them enrolled into this group coaching program. Yeah, if a person cannot afford something, I'm going to make it affordable for them. But if they cannot do even that, I'm not going to jump through any hoops to try to accommodate them, because they basically have bigger problems than I can help them with.
How many, in your experience, how many people who go through this level of an event convert to the $2,500 event?
Between 10 and 25%, sometimes more.
And would you say the reason that the other 75 to 95% don't convert is because they don't have the money, or they're not interested, or something else?
Well, sometimes the alignment between the focus of a group coaching program and the basic Qidao program is not obvious, and so some people enrolled in the group coaching program that weren't really even going to enroll in a basic Qidao program, even if they could afford.
So not interested would be one reason.
Yeah. Another reason, like you said, that they may not be able to afford $2,500. Well, until now it's been $2,000, but still $2,000 tuition is not easily affordable by most people. So this is not for everyone. And the third thing is they simply don't value it. Well, it's the same thing as not being interested, I guess. Basically, they went through this group coaching program and they either feel satisfied and everything is hunky-dory now, or they didn't get the value and they didn't tell me. Like, I hardly ever hear people saying, that was a waste of my time and money. However, maybe somewhere deep in the back of their mind, they feel like, well, I didn't quite get what I was hoping for, or my expectations were not met. So what's likelihood of the next program meeting my expectations? Maybe that's not for me. So basically that's a possibility as well.
That seems to me a important point of consideration in the background, because really wanting something and not having enough money is different than, that would be fun and I don't have enough money, and I'm not interested even if I have the money. Those are really different things to speak to.
Right. That's why I want to offer the participants in this group coaching program also an additional follow-up session. Because it would be great to see how much they benefited from the program in their own words, to see whether or not they want more, and obviously then invite them to the basic Qidao program. And I've also received private coaching clients from this kind of group coaching programs. Basically, people realize that, yeah, it was nice, but I really want some individual attention. So Bob, for example, he signed up for my group coaching program some 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. And finally, he's like, yeah, I'm really interested in studying more one-on-one, So he signed up as my private coaching client. And then he actually got busy with the basic Qidao program later. So it's everybody takes their own interesting path.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to offer as well, and maybe not at first in terms of this kind of dialogue, but exposing them to the website so they can see there are all these other things happening. And the Qidao path is just one possible way to be engaged with this learning venue, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because my own personal interest was because I had been a student of Tai Chi and teaching it at a basic level. The idea of studying the physical work that you were teaching was a logical step for me.
Right.
I'm not sure that everybody would go from, let me understand how to manifest the life of my dreams, to the physical workout stuff. There is a kind of a like, how does one connect to the other gap there? So having some of those other courses like the pain management or, the other things, right. It's like, oh, like, yeah, what's going on with my body is a manifestation of the other and vice versa. So yes, let me learn this internal thing about body and it makes a sense. But yeah, taking right. Somebody from manifesting coaching straight into basic Qidao would be like, how are you going to connect that?
Well, actually, there is a really nice bridge connecting them. And that is the dynamic meditation at the end of the ebook that we put together.
Right.
That we're going to be doing in the context of group coaching program as well. This dynamic meditation obviously engages them in one of the practices that we explore in the context of the basic Qidao program, which of course I will not fail to mention, and also tease them a little bit with some other additional tidbits about that program and benefits of attending the program. So I think that is a really, really good connecting point.
I think that little gateway, that bridge there, almost deserves its own little ebook kind of clinic conversation of.
I do have a video recording of a clinic where I conducted exactly that meditation in front of the camera. So what I'm thinking about is incorporating that video into the online course that everybody will be receiving as they sign up for the group coaching program. And basically, when they watch that video in the online course, then we will also mention that, okay, we are going to do this live. We're going to do this maybe even more than once so that you will be able to benefit as much as possible. And this is also going to serve as a nice entry point into introducing them to Academy of Qidao programs.
Okay. So not exactly what I was pointing at, but yeah.
Oh, you're pointing at that it deserves its own clinic type of event that would be good.
This is what I see that would be missing, that if this was put in, it could make the difference. Okay. How many people have come to you in practicing Qidao and then discovered something like, oh, my back does not hurt anymore after mowing the lawn? Because I learned how to use my body to do something that's a daily activity. Now let's take it a step further. If I understand that my holding pattern is to hold forward, and that for other people, that shows up like an aggressive stance. So what is their usual response to somebody who's aggressing at them? One of two things: they're either going to back away or they're going to aggress themselves. And if I know that about myself, then I can say, okay, how can I shift my own thinking that will shift my own holding patterns so that I get a more desirable reaction response from the outside world? Okay. Now, how do I learn to do that? Well, first off, let's begin to explore what you do with your body.
Yeah.
So you can go from a kind of a psychological, why would I want, what is there for me to get is a better way of interacting with the world. Could be anything from mowing the lawn to interacting with my boss. And the way to get there is becoming aware of this, how it shows up for you and how it shows up for others. And that can include, the meditation, but I think that, like, see how this connects to the rest, see how it gets demonstrated in the rest of your world, is an important conversation for people to have. It's not all just, I'm never going to need to punch anybody, so why would I want to study a physical martial arts kind of platform? No, it
That's a
implies
very
to,
easy question to answer.
yeah,
I've received this question numerous times, as you can imagine.
sure.
And a really good answer that actually can branch out into several things. But one of them is that what we learn is how to project energy and how to deal with energy projections. These projections can take a variety of different forms. It can be a physical projection, it can be a mental projection, it can be a verbal projection, or a non-verbal. People can throw energetic dagger at you even without looking at you, but you probably have seen some evil stink eye staring at you in such a way that you didn't feel good, have you not? Well, these are just different examples of energy projections. The most basic, the most simple ones are actually the physical ones. That's usually the ones that we begin with so that we have some tangible experience of energy flow. And then it also gives us an opportunity to test. How well am I doing it? How well am I dealing with responding or reacting to energy projections so that we develop greater responsiveness, stop becoming so reactive? Does it make sense? Everybody says, yeah, it makes really good sense.
That's what I'm saying needs to be a good 1 hour clinic discussion turned into an ebook, made into an introductory course. That would be a really nice transition for those thinker philosophical people into the why would I want to take the basics and on coursework. Really Absolutely. Clean tie.
Absolutely, yes. That would be a wonderful transition. And I would be delighted to work on that subject matter, perhaps as a next ebook, if you feel so inspired. One thing I want to make sure is that we don't take upon ourselves another project that is not in the framework of those 3-month-long campaigns that we've set out to put to good use. In other words, there's going to be martial arts as one of the subjects of those online summits and group coaching programs. So when that time comes, we can definitely focus on martial arts aspects. And we can reschedule things in the big scheme of things and make it happen sooner. So the upcoming one starting next year is on healing. But we can certainly make martial arts also the second or the third quarter next year if you feel like this is a good topic.
Good. I think we should work that in. I think that would be a good one. So have you gotten any, I'm sorry.
I would certainly be happy to do that.
Yeah, I think that would make a nice next book and a next concrete offer, and it will fit into the run of things that were on our Excel spreadsheet where it fits in. It'll fit in where it fits in.
Healing is the topic of the next one. So healing is definitely a very good topic. A lot of people can relate to it. A lot of Qigong masters probably would be chomping at the bit to be featured in the summit on the subject. So I'm actually kind of putting together some ideas for the summit. It's really a crunch time to start actually working on it if we want to make it happen in the first quarter of next year. And also the short group coaching program dedicated to the same topic. As you know, healing pain body or pain body healing is the new kind of healing modality that I developed, basically picking up right where Eckhart Tolle left off with his ideas about pain body, and basically integrated with the Qidao approach to healing, and that essentially something that a lot of people can relate to, and at the same time it gives them a sense, just from seeing the title of it, that it's not just a physical healing, but it's the pain body healing. So it addresses something that is less tangible. And I think this is a really nice kind of entry point into the energy healing. What do you think?
I think this is good. You know, it's I have this world map view, or starting developing a world map view that has all of the different courses that you have to offer, and starting to see how one flows into the next. And I want to keep reminding you that you've been looking at it so long, you no longer see it from the I've never seen it before point of view. And right. That the simpler the roadmap can look, and the easier it is for that brand new set of eyeballs to experience it and not feel overwhelmed by all the possibility that's there. Mm-hmm. So website design and that type of thing makes a difference. It is, you know, one of the messages is, unlike taking a math class where you learn how to add things one time, you don't have to keep learning how to add. Once you've learned how to add, you know how to add. Once you've learned how to subtract, you know how to subtract. This type of study is not like that. It is a lifelong exposure. That's why I would love to take that landmark class again, because I'm not the same person I was when I took it the first time around. It can't be anything but more wonderful, you know? So yeah. That's part of the message of the bigger picture is you're not the master, you're mastering. You know, that's, I think, the background message is there's always more. I don't care who you are. There's always another level of depth or height that you can reach in doing this work, and a pace that you can go at that suits you.
Absolutely.
It's another part of it. I'm thinking of my own experiences, like I do Mind Valley in a chunk, and then something in their world will sort of tick me off or bore me or something, and I put it down for a while, and then a year or two later, some course will flip by and it's like, oh, that, and I get pulled back in and I'll do another one or two, and the same kind of pattern. But I'm now functioning from this belief that they're there when I want to go back to them to see what else they have to offer. And so good for them. And they've changed the way they bill people for courses. It's like you really can't just buy a course anymore.
Really?
You have to buy a membership. And the membership gives you access to everything. But of course, the membership gets renewed yearly, right? So when the membership ends, you no longer have access to whatever courses you got under that. Now, if you wait a year and come back and buy a new membership, all your old stuff is there again.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
well, it certainly would be very open to creating a membership program for Academy of Qidao like this. Can you hold for a moment?
Yeah.
looks like Nancy needs some help, if you don't mind. And then we can wrap up for today. We seem to have covered a lot of ground and did a good sample session.
Have you had people respond from your Facebook presentation, or has anybody scheduled anything?
Yes, people responded from Facebook presentation. The presentation went pretty well in real time. There was actual audience face to face. I haven't looked at the Facebook group where I posted it, but I would imagine that there are more people who watched it. The first 5 minutes, I couldn't figure out how to get rid of the first like 4 or 5 minutes of that video. Just need to trim it. So maybe I will actually have to take time today to download it into my computer and just run it through iMovie. Basically, if a person is not particularly patient, probably they will get bored by looking at the first few minutes of this presentation that was just a jibber jabber.
Yeah, the next time we talk, I'll give you some feedback about, from the observer's point of view, what I experienced. But overall, content-wise, I think it went very well. So,
great.
But have people registered, purchased the book? Is there any action that's come from it?
Yes, I think there's action that's coming from it. I just need to actually send these people the email. So basically, I told the folks who were in attendance to give me their email addresses,
right? And
I would send them the links. So now I'm back in Portland, so I can actually sit down at my computer and send them links. I had not had the opportunity to look at my computer until you called me, and I picked up the call on the phone, and then just booted up the computer for the first time since coming back from Eugene. So that's going to be my next step.
Okay, well, yeah, I can see that it's on there, and it's got all that stuff in the beginning that was sort of my constant nag with you is you need somebody to do the production stuff and have it all set before the camera comes on, so that when you're lit up, boom, the audience gets the show. They don't get all the production crap in the background.
Yeah, I also wanted to be prompt at a time when I told people that I would be going live. So I didn't want people to sit there like, okay, where is he? And probably 2-3 minutes later that it would just say, it's not happening, and they would just move on. So there are pros and cons to everything, but ideally, if I were not traveling, I would certainly just do something about this video right away. Yeah, that would be a good thing to do.
We can talk about that the next time. But would you give me just a minute or two? I want to share something with you, if you have time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so part of my manifesting has been about abundance, right? Like I want flow of money to come my way. And I'm learning not to dictate what that's supposed to look like, but to know it's coming. So I get this weird letter in the mail a couple of days ago that is from the county tax and revenue office of the county where my father's home was before he passed away. Yeah. And it says that my father's living trust estate owes Doña Ana County $17,000 in back taxes on that piece of property. So my first reaction is, holy shit, because I am the successor trustee for that living trust. And it caught my breath for a moment. I don't have $17,000. What the hell are they talking about? Right. And then slowly I like, wait a minute, that piece of property was sold before my father passed away, and all the payments were made into a company that's actually the company that sent me the letter. They know good and well that my father doesn't own that piece of property anymore because they were the escrow company in between him and the seller. And it's like,
the
this is
buyer.
really strange. So tried to call the escrow company. They weren't there. And I thought, okay, this has such a weird vibe to it. Like, what's going on?
Mm.
And then it occurred to me, another synchronicity. I keep getting these Facebook posts about all kinds of different ways to make lots and lots of money. So one of them is how to take tax liens and buy them, and then now you own the property to resell it. You never have to see the property. You never have to touch it, right? It's like, oh, maybe that's the reason I've been getting all those bizarre Facebook messages, so that I would have a little piece of information in my head. So here's the information, real estate wise. If a county reclaims a piece of property for the sake of the owed taxes, they put it up for auction. They get their whatever amount of money. So in this case, I'm just going to round it up and say it was $17,000 is what's owed to them. Let's say they sell the place in auction for $80,000. The county is only entitled to the $17,000. The remainder of that money belongs to the said owner. If the said owner knows that they have the right to claim it, they can go get that difference. Even if they were ousted in bankruptcy or whatever caused them to lose the property, they're still entitled to that money. Most people don't know that. So when that money sits for a period of time, then it goes back into the coffers of the county or whomever, right? So all that ran through my head, and I thought, holy shit, I don't think I own this property, but somebody thinks I own this property. So I called, I went online, and longer story, but got in touch with a real estate company in Las Cruces and asked if they would do some footwork for me, since they're there and I'm not, right? To find out why they think I'm the owner of this property or this trust. And she showed me, no, in fact, that Doña Annie has the people my father sold it to listed, but there's some huge gap in the fact that those people weren't paying taxes. And I think the man passed away in 2014, and I think that's when the taxes stopped being paid. And if the woman is still alive, she's like 80 something. I have a feeling she might have passed away. I did a Google Earth search on the property, and it looks like it has just been abandoned. It may even have been gutted or something. The roof of it looks torn up. I don't know. I can't really tell from a Google shot, but I'm in this conversation now with the real estate woman that she is going to go check out the property, find out what its true value is at the moment, what I would have to contribute to the county to claim ownership, since my father's trust is listed by the tax and revenue people as the owner, even though county records would show otherwise. Do I have to give them the full 17,000, or can I give them a payment on it to stop the auction that's supposed to occur December 8th? And the real estate woman assured me, even if it was a piece of property, it's in hot demand right now in the place that it is. And if it's a piece of property with a livable residence on it, it could be worth as much as $200,000. I was like, okay, then let's play this game for a while and see what turns up. The worst that could happen is the county sells it and gets their money into conversation. The county sells it and they have to give me the leftover. That would be nice. And I don't have to lift a finger. Or I could step in the middle of it and actually pay the taxes and reclaim ownership of the property and have this person sell it and get, as you know, up of 150,000 or something in the turnover, minus all the expenses that would come out of that. But it was like, that's what happens when you say to the universe,
Abundance.
make me abundant.
Yes.
Knock, knock, knock. It's gonna be some work, but here's a way you can get ahead. Here's some money.
Right.
So I was laughing and glad at how quick I went from, they want what? These people, what are they talking about? I don't know anybody, you know, like how fast could I turn that off and move into, hey, I could make some money off of this.
Yeah, that's why we learn how to become responsive instead of reactive.
Exactly.
The former was a reactive, and the latter was a responsive response to the event.
Yeah, it's always a little unsettling when you get mail from government entities wanting money.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to kind of, wherever this goes, I want to write it down like a little story to demonstrate what happens when you say, I want to manifest something.
Absolutely. And what a great story to also perhaps share with some of the people who will be enrolling in our manifesting group coaching program, because they would love to hear something like that.
Absolutely. And the other people it affects, because the young lady that by random fluke of the moment was at the real estate office, that the service that I've got randomly connected to that real estate person, she wasn't looking to have a phone call from me, but she could end up getting between 5 and 10% commission off of this if it went the route of me taking full possession of it and reselling it back. So right. From like nothing, this total stranger could end up with a lovely Christmas bonus.
Right.
She wasn't expecting to have just dropped in her lap. So fun stuff along the way.
Fantastic story. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Yep, I'll let you know how it goes.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Marsha. And don't hesitate to download the recording of this video. I think we can put it to good use one way or another. If nothing else, we can make references to it.
And honestly, if you feel like you're ready to pass somebody to me to do a strategy session, I'm perfectly capable of doing one.
Great. Let's start with Bob.
Bob's already in the game, but okay.
I know, but he volunteered to be the guinea pig.
Okay.
And he said that he would be happy to provide some constructive feedback.
Sure.
So I think that's a good offer. If we start with Bob, I think that's going to be a really good step.
All right. Yeah, we're playing tag back and forth, trying to get a time slot set up.
Okay, wonderful. Well, have a nice rest of the weekend. I will look forward to seeing you on, I believe we are supposed to be meeting on, Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if necessary, we may end up actually meeting maybe even sooner than Thursday, depending on how things are coming along with the enrollment in the program.
Let me know.
Okay, excellent.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.